Florida is home to some of the most biodiverse wetland ecosystems in the world. American alligators can be seen lurking on the edges of the water, while the common anhinga can be seen perched on a branch, ready to dive into the water in search of prey. And amongst all of the animals that catch the eye of most people, there's one seldom seen animal that is just as unique as the others, the banded water snake. While searching along the embankment of a freshwater spring, we had found our first snake. Alrighty guys, this right here is the banded water snake, one of the common Nerodia species here in Florida. This guy's been found preying on a variety of things, including fish and other amphibians in here. This guy's just basking right now. You can see they get the name the banded water snake because of those textbook bands that are on their dorsal scales. Pretty cool find. And as we continued searching, we found our next snake. Actually, no, this is a banded water snake. Yeah, wow, look at this guy. Another huge banded water snake. Wow. Alright guys, right behind me here is the banded water snake, the Florida banded water snake. This is one of the multiple Nerodia species, or water snake species, here in Florida. Now this is a decent sized snake. This is about full grown for these guys. These guys can get up to about 2.5 feet to 3 feet. As you can see, we've seen two different banded water snakes here, and they do have different colors. As they get older, the colors are going to fade, but when they are younger, they'll have a much more vibrant coloration, a much more vibrant pattern. You can still see some of the bands near the tail, but right now this little snake is just sitting on these rocks, basking, because these are ectothermic and cold-blooded animals, so they need the sun in order to heat them up and give them energy. Such an amazing little snake. He's going to crawl back into that hole and look for some anoles and other things like that, but they're just such cool little animals out here in Florida. Another Florida snake that is commonly mistaken for the banded water snake is the water moccasin. The water moccasin is a highly venomous pit viper that just so happens to be in the same range as the banded water snake. Because of this, non-venomous banded water snakes are often mistaken for the water moccasin and killed right on the spot when a human encounters it. So, here are a few ways to tell the difference between the banded water snake and the water moccasin. The first major difference between the two snakes is the shape of their pupils. If you are able to observe the pupils of the snake from a safe distance, you will notice that water moccasins have slit-like pupils, which they use for hunting at night, as they are nocturnal. While the banded water snake will have circular pupils that can be used for hunting during the day and at night. Also, banded water snakes will lack the heat-sensing pits that water moccasins have. These pits are located between the eye and nostril of the water moccasin. The next difference between the two snakes is the shape of the head. Banded water snakes will have slender heads, while water moccasins have triangular heads, as they have two glands in the back of their heads, which hold their precious venom. However, this is probably the most inconsistent method of differentiating the two, as banded water snakes will flatten their heads to look like a water moccasin as a defense mechanism. One of the most effective ways of telling the difference between the two is the shape and coloration of the snakes. Banded water snakes will have a much more rounded body compared to cottonmouths, and they will have very thin, tan-colored bands along their dorsal scales throughout their whole lives, though these colors will fade as they get older. Cottonmouths, on the other hand, will have a much more bulky, triangular-shaped body with Hershey kiss-like bands that get much thicker as the bands get closer to the underside of the snake. The final difference between the two has to do with behavior. Cottonmouths tend to open and flash their bright white mouths in defense, which gives them the name Cottonmouth. This behavior will only be used as a defense. As we continued to observe this large banded water snake, we were able to see it use its keeled scales, or scales with ridges, to slither across the rocks in search of prey. Thank you all so much for watching this episode about the banded water snake. It was an absolutely amazing species, and I hope you guys learned something new about this fantastic water snake. Thank you guys for watching, and remember that you are always welcome to the wilderness. We'll see you next time. And as we spend our final moments with the snake, it slithered off into the grasses, out of our sight. Now, before the video ends, I want to say a huge thank you to Gamecock Herping on Instagram. He has some fantastic herping content on there, and I really recommend you go check him out. He supplied the first Cottonmouth video within this video. And another huge thank you to the Wildlife Brothers for supplying the rest of the Cottonmouth footage. They are probably one of my favorite channels on YouTube and feature a wide variety of super cool animals and have some fantastic videos on their channel. If you like this kind of content, I definitely recommend you check them out. All of their links to their socials will be in the description, and again, huge thanks to them for helping make this video possible. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed and learned something new about the banded water snake and how to tell the difference between banded water snakes and water moccasins. Thanks so much for watching, and remember that you are always welcome to the wilderness. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this adventure, check out the 2 videos on the screen, and tap on the logo to make sure to subscribe to our channel for weekly wildlife adventures.